Learn how to dynamically alter the design and styling of an HTML element. In this lesson, we want to look at how you can style elements via CSS. And we're going to be looking at how you can do that in jQuery as well as in vanilla JavaScript. Why you usually write your website style inside a separate CSS file like I am doing for this particular lesson, you can see my CSS inside a separate CSS file. Sometimes you might want your layout to change style on the fly based on what user does. Like maybe you want to flash a text box red when there's an error, or blowing up the font size when a button is clicked. So in jQuery, you can use the CSS method to inject these styles directly. You just pass in the name of the style you want to change, like the font size or weight, and then the value you want to give it, and boom, then it will be applied when an action is performed on your website. So let's look at what we need to do in this boilerplate code. In our HTML code, we're actually not adding anything there. So we'll move directly into the script code. And before I move into the script code, I quickly remember there's something we need to add a content here. Let's make use of this particular element. So let's just put any content. Change it, maybe something like change the style of the HTML element. So a text that is as simple as this. Then come inside our script tag and then select our document. Then call the ready method. Pass the function inside it. And so use $ again to select the ID of the element, which is demo.css. Sorry. And inside the CSS, so I want the font size. So you write the key in double quotes and then the value as well, put it in double quotes. And now you can see that immediately on the go, the font size of my elements changed on the screen. So what we just did with what is it called? jQuery, we can as well also do it in vanilla JavaScript. So let me comment this out. And in vanilla JavaScript, well, I need a way to, get my element. So I will use document.getElement by ID to fetch the ID of the element. And once I've done this, then I can go on and do my element and apply style directly to it, the font size. Cancel and set it equals to 35 pixels. And immediately this also will change. So you can see that you can style element via CSS in both jQuery and in vanilla JavaScript. This example renders a web page and with a standard paragraph heading. Change the style of HTML elements, and as soon as the DOM layout completely loads, the script isolates that paragraph by its ID of demo and apply jQuery CSS method to upscale its text font thickness instantly to 35 pixels. So looking at this code, especially this first one, which is for jQuery, you can see that here the CSS method accepts two arguments when acting as a writer. So the specific CSS property string followed by its design value string. So it compiles this rule and drop it into the element as a lifestyle, and then it changes the content of whatever you have given it to load and change in your instruction. So looking at these both examples, now let's look at few key takeaways from what you have just accomplished in this lesson. Number one, modifying style using CSS method or native.style, apply them as inline HTML attributes. Inline styles possess high CSS specificity. meaning they will easily overwrite regular design written inside external style sheets. Number two, remember that standard CSS string with dashes work inside jQuery string, but native JavaScript require you to switch over to standard camel case properties. So you can see the difference between the two. There's a dash that works inside here, but here is a camel casing. And lastly, directly altering an element's time mapping properties run exceptionally fast across all search engines and layout systems without loading any framework assets. So if you can run the style directly like this, it makes your application or your web page fast because you don't need to download any thing, or you don't need to load any framework assets. It's just a direct performance glide in your application. So you don't depend on until a library is downloaded before your application fires. So this makes your application fast and it deals away with all those packages or external other resources that might slow down performance of your application.